This is Natan Edelsberg with The Drum. We're here on the Found Remote Show. We're here with Gary Vaynerchuk, a very special guest today. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Always fun to be very special.
I predict that in the next decade or two, any differentiation between these platforms will fall away. Is 13 hours watched as one cinematic whole really any different than a film?
Do you think in the future we're no longer going to call things TV, film, radio, whatever, and it's just going to be content?
No, I think humans are really good at tagging things. So I think we'll be calling them things.
Yeah.
There might be some format, OTT, like where did that come from? Like, so maybe that evolves, and the kids that are being born today are like, you're gonna watch like who knows where it goes, right? But I think we will absolutely categorize things because that's what humans like to do.
Got it. So
I think the more interesting question is, does it matter? To me, I have no romance of platform. I don't have a romance to television or radio or mobile devices or social networks or podcasting or written form. What I have romance for is your collective attention and then riding those platforms. 3 episodes of Homeland condensed. If I knew nothing and I was from outer space and I watched 3 episodes of Homeland, or I watched a movie like about national security, like I'd be like, that's the same thing.
Totally.
So the quality is, and by the way, if you start looking at some of the stuff that's being produced that only is distributed on Facebook, if you really think about it, it's becoming the same. And I've seen 4 human beings in the last 3 months on flights on their phone watching Star Wars. I think this needs to be debated.
Yeah.
This is Star Wars. This is Star Wars being watched like this. That's an interesting phenomenon in a world where a lot of us that are romantic think you have to go to the triple max theater with the boom this and the glasses that, and like it. And so I think that we have to stop imposing our own personal will on people's consumption habits.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a good segue. Screening Room, Sean Parker's new venture, where he's trying to get the film studios to release movies on Screening Room so people can watch a movie in their home when it first comes out and pay like $50 for it. Do you think this is something that's a good idea? The theaters have already said they obviously hate it because they don't want it to affect their ticket sales.
Right, that's so stunning.
Yeah.
And the cable companies love Netflix.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah, so are you gonna use Screening Room? Do you think it's
yes.
smart? Cool.
Time is the asset.
Yep.
I do not want to drive to the movie theater.
Cool.
And if I'm rich and I have a movie room, then I want to watch it there. And so, of course.
Yeah, and you're a big Jets fan.
Real quick, I want to say something. As somebody who lived watching this, everybody said they weren't going to take an Uber. Then everybody took an Uber.
Yeah.
Everybody said they weren't going to be on Facebook, and now they're on Facebook. Everybody right now is saying they're not going to use Snapchat, and they're using Snapchat. So like everybody who's watching is like, I'm not going to do that. You would. Now, if you can't afford it, you won't. But time is something you will respond to always.
When it comes to sports in particular, you're a big Jets fan.
Yes.
There's a lot of chatter, with Twitter. That's very nice screen. Twitter is going to be airing some NFL games.
Yes.
There's also obviously Snapchat, Facebook Live,
Yes.
Periscope. Anyone can just film it. So if you go to a Jets game and start, Snapchatting it or whatnot, do you think people are going to start wanting to watch your version of the Jets game versus, whatever network or platform is airing it?
Yes. When Ustream first came out back in the day, when it's funny, in my growth of my career, Ustream was a bigger play than I ever talk about. I did a lot of Twitter, I did a lot of YouTube, but Ustream was huge for me.
Yep.
And I absolutely do believe that there are 5,000 people right now that would much rather watch the Jets game and hear my 2 cents on it than the local. And by the way, this is a phenomenon. If you're not a hardcore sports fan, you may not know this, especially a lot of old timers that grew up with the radio. There's a lot of people that watch sports and have the local radio guy or gal on instead of the TV voice. It's a very interesting subculture. And I do think that there's a lot of people that would prefer the commentary of, remember when Howard Stern was tweeting along private parts, airing early Twitter? There's clearly other voices that create different context. And when you start thinking about that world, yes, I do think the days of just John Madden or Al Michaels versus 30, 40 voices that could be delivering it, I see a world of that. But now the question becomes, I think the real question becomes, when the television or the big screen
Yep.
in your house is that connected to your phone, and we're starting to see it.
Yep.
This is a very funny thing. I didn't even know this happened in my house. We have a new TV. This is a real story. My wife bought a new TV in our bedroom because the other one broke. I didn't pick it. I'm just laying in bed the first night the TV's in the house.
Yeah.
And looking at a YouTube video and literally noticed an icon in the top right-hand corner that was different than I've ever seen before. Literally subtly. I pressed it and it was on my television. And I said, holy crap, that is mom proof. And what I meant by that was like, I can teach my mom that, any mom that, and that is game changing. And so this is what I'm looking forward to.
Yep.
I think Facebook should build a television, get it in everybody's home, and get into this. If you can get into, you're going through your stream, you like it, and you do this, and it's on your television, that is game changing. And I actually have a funny prediction. I truly believe that if Steve Jobs was still alive, that we would have that today.
Do you think though that, when you think about advertising and how advertising affected by all of this, what do you think the opportunities are going to be in the future once it's so much more simple? Because we talk about the second screen a lot.
I think TV goes back to the beginning. If you look at the Ed Sullivan Show, it was financed completely by the Lincoln Town Car Company.
Yep.
Soap operas, for the two of you that don't know, was named because Procter & Gamble paid for it, and they wanted to sell soap and detergent. So I think that I think you will see. This is a very easy prediction for me, and I don't like for anybody that follows me, I don't predict, I just observe and then speak about what's happening. It's a very rare thing for me to predict. I will predict something. I absolutely think that within a decade, one of the house of cards of the day, next year, 3 years from now, 7 years from now, will be fully funded, 100% owned by Pepsi, by Toyota, by a brand, and you won't give a crap because for all the subtle product placement, because they'll be smart enough, this is why it'll be a hit, for the brand that's smart enough to make it subtle.
Yeah.
Not like, and it's, do you really care that House of Cards was brought to you by Netflix? Do you even know who produces it? Do you even care? You don't. You care about the show, and if somebody makes a great show, and it's subtle, you won't care who brought it to you. And by the way, you want to get somewhere weird? That's what happened with me and Wine Library TV. I thought I was going to do QVC. The second that red light, which I see here on this camera too, went on, my first episode, in my mind, I said, holy crap, I can't pitch wine I don't believe in, because if somebody comes with a glass and I have to taste it, I'm going to be exposed. And what happened was the creative took over the commerce, and it was the only reason that show broke out and my career exploded. If I was pitching and selling wine on that show, it would have never popped, but because I became creatively free and I knew there was residual business opportunities when Pepsi and Toyota and Viking Stove, Modern Family having their product, like showing their kitchen and showing that they have a June, that's a startup I'm involved in, a June oven in the scene.
What does June do?
The craziest thing, smart oven.
Smart oven,
okay.
Okay.
Do you know how cool it is? You put a chicken in, you press the chicken button, and it cooks the chicken perfectly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that is what I think is going to happen, and I actually think that Nike and Under Armour are ESPN's biggest competitor in this future world.
I heard an interesting comparison that Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon are similar to what the three big TV networks were originally. ABC, NBC, CBS. Do you see a comparison?
I don't. Well, I understand why people say, and it's a nice headline. I don't, because those three controlled all the attention.
Right.
Like, we're living through mass long tail.
Yeah.
Do you know how many 15-year-olds will watch 7 shows that not 99% of America knows exist, and they all are just on YouTube?
Yeah.
Do you know how many 17-year-olds right now will watch 4 hours of Snapchat video continuously? There's so much more going on. And I would say this, here's my big punchline. This is the television.
Yep.
The television is the radio, and it's the late 50s, early 60s. And I think that's what's so fascinating. Because as we're debating all this, what does entertainment in this device look like? And have we quantified the fact that when I look at that screen, which is much bigger than this screen, but when I'm sitting this far away and I'm sitting this far away, they actually are quite similar.
Yep.
So we're not having smart conversations. You have people that pontificate, that want the old guard to live and say, well, in a big screen, but have you factored in how you actually visually consume it when it's like this versus that? Because this is actually bigger right now than that, even though it's a much bigger screen. So there's a lot going on. The internet is distribution. Like just like this could have been a 1 minute interview. The internet is the internet is distribution, the end. And so,
Agreed.
what about the production companies doing it direct to consumer?
Yeah.
What if you're Endemol or Mark Burnett? Like Mark Burnett, he should do an OTT. Like why is he sharing revenue with these distribution partners when the internet's the distributor?
Would you agree with me that the term OTT is kind of silly and we need to come up with a better name for it?
No, because I kind of made that joke in the first part of this show. There might be some format, OTT, like where did that come from? We always need words, and like whether it's called OTT or Schmo PP or DoDD, like
need tags.
it just doesn't. Yeah, we need tags. Social media.
Yeah.
There's no social media. You mean the sites that people actually go to on the internet?
Yeah.
But yet they're dangerous. I think what you're referring to is, for example, in the world that I live in, people hear social media, they think it's a nice to have. They think it's like this clever little guerrilla marketing thing. No. It's the game.
Yep.
Like Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram is where all the attention is going.
Yep. So final question.
And by the way, I apologize. I
apologize.
actually believe Facebook is by far the most dangerous and capable OTT network, because not only can they produce a hockey show, they can put it in front of everybody that loves hockey.
Yeah.
In a much more meaningful way than anybody else.
Wanted to thank everyone for watching. We're here with Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, CEO of VaynerMedia, host of Ask Gary V. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, brother.
Cool. So we're gonna get just a photo or two.
I'm just snapping up.
Hello. How's it going?
Very nice. This was fun.
Shout out to the drum.
The drum, London.
Hello, this is Natan Edelsberg. I'm one of the executive editors of Found Remote, the Drum's Future of TV blog. I also help run Muckrack, a PR platform for Sawhorse Media.